welcome back to my channel. My name is Sin, and today we're going to talk about Saltburn. For those who don't know, Saltburn is a psychological thriller and dark comedy that was written, directed, and co-produced by Emerald Fennell. And if you don't know who Emerald Fennell is, she is a pretty well-known actress. She was on Call the Midwife, and also Midge from the Barbie movie. I know her because of her work in her directorial debut film, Promising Young Woman. If you haven't watched it, oh my god, please take the time to watch it. Without further ado, let's get into it. Off the bat, we get 3 minutes. It is just vomit of just visual explosion, right, on your screen. We follow Oliver through campus on his first day of Oxford in 2006. And he's making his way to his dorm, and we see some of the key players in the film sprinkled throughout, and they kind of interact with him as he is making his way and unpacking and all that good stuff. After that, the very next scene is, I'm assuming it's office hours. So the teacher and Oliver are making small talk till, Farley shows up. And they get to chit-chatting. We're not even 5 minutes in. We're getting all of these hints in the dialogue, in the interactions with the characters, establishing that Oliver is not only like a loser and like a nerd, but he also doesn't have familial ties to this university. Then it cuts to like a Christmas party that Oliver and his friend, I think his name is Michael, they're not invited to. Sometime after that, Oliver is riding his bike and he stumbles across Felix, who is like left on the side of the road because his bike has a flat tire in it. And so Oliver, I guess, trying to climb the social ladder or just be a good friend or good Samaritan, he offers to give him his bike and he'll just walk. Felix, over the moon, so grateful. After that, so they're all at this pub. Michael is with Oliver, Felix is with Farley and all their little friends. And so Michael goes to the bathroom, Oliver goes to get more drinks, Felix spots him across the pub, invites him over for drinks to thank him for letting him ride his bike the other day. Oliver accepts, and we get the first scene that shows how fucking diabolical Oliver really is. Like, Michael comes back from the bathroom and Felix asks him, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I called you from the bar, but are you here with someone?" Oliver looks Michael straight in the face and Michael starts walking over to him and Oliver goes, "No, I'm here all by myself. I don't have friends. Never made a friend in my life. Matter of fact, everyone I know is dead." It is so funny. It's so funny and so trifling. Oliver is so trifling. So that happens. Michael is obviously butthurt because, like, what the fuck? Michael leaves the pub. At the pub, after they got the rounds, like Felix got everyone rounds to thank Oliver for, you know, his good deed. And then Oliver's like, "I should go. Like, I've had enough to drink." And Farley goes, "No, you have to get another round of shots. Like, we're going in order. Like, everyone gets rounds of shots. It's just a courteous thing to do." But again, like, they're rich and he's not. And so it's shown that he doesn't have enough. He's like he's literally pinching pennies. He's like, every last cent he has, he's putting it on there and begging the bartender to just let him get shots this time and he'll come back tomorrow to pay for everything. Felix sees this and he does him a solid. And after that heartwarming moment, we get a nice montage of their friendship blossoming and Oliver changing as a result of this friendship. It's giving a lot of, are they about to kiss right now energy? But no, they're literally just becoming friends. I personally think that that kind of fruity bisexual energy that it's given off is set to mislead people into assuming and kind of through context clues picking up that Oliver is in love with Felix, and that's why he does everything he does in the film, which is very good. It's a very good distraction. I understand we're so used to in films, because for the most part a lot of films are directed by men, and men friendships don't typically look like that. I guess, like, at least in America, there's not a lot of platonic affection. Like, platonic to a lot of people is absence of intimacy. And I love that Emerald says, fuck no to that. These people are straight in their own way, but they aren't acting like typical straights. And that's why it's coming off as fruity, but they're just having a platonic relationship that has a certain level of intimacy. Because again, like, it's Europe. I think people have forgotten, Americans are watching this movie, went out in one ear out the other, that they are at Oxford. I grew up kissing people on the cheeks as a form of like greeting them, right? And we don't get that a lot in America. That was a little tangent, but I see that a lot in like the way people are reacting to this film about like them being like fruity with each other. I just wanted to like sprinkle in my 2 cents about that. After that cute montage of them clubbing and getting to know each other and establishing that friendship, we get the scene of Michael and Oliver in the library, and Michael is giving off Dahmer vibes. I don't know how else to describe it, as he tells him like, Felix doesn't care about you. He's literally using you like he's not your friend type deal. This is where I'm gonna get a little nerdy. We get this amazing shot. Oliver, Felix, and whatever girl Felix is like into at the moment, right? This girl, I didn't catch her name, are talking about a party, and he is telling her, you know, is there a friend that you can bring to entertain Oliver? And she's basically just telling him like, no, Oliver's a loser, Oliver's ugly, like why are you even friends with him? Whole time Oliver is following them. He's like right behind them. And what I love about the way that it's framed is the fact that there's a gap between Felix and the girl, and Oliver's standing right in the middle. And in the very next scene, when those two people are hooking up, Felix and the girl, these two people are standing on either sides of each other. And as the camera cuts through between them, through the window, and we see Oliver in the bushes watching them. And if you know anything about cinematography, you know everything is done intentionally. Everything communicates something. He is gonna come between Felix and something else. That framing, brilliant. And also, back into the seat of like an audience member, that's fucking creepy. He's following them all day and all night consistently. That's creepy. You're a creep. Creepy behavior. But after that, independent of those two scenes, Oliver and Felix get into their first friendship fight. And so Felix basically tells him, like, I have a lot of studying to do, like, you should go. He gets a call in the morning, and he runs to Felix because his dad has died. So Felix goes to comfort him. You know, they're talking for a little bit, and in the scene before when they had the big fight, Oliver is sitting down and Felix is standing up. Again, more cinematography. And in this scene where Felix is comforting Oliver, they're equal, parallel on the floor. No one is standing above, like there is no power dynamic. They are the same in this moment. It's towards the end of the semester. There's this big celebration to kind of commemorate that finals are over and they are done with school. It's been noted throughout the whole film that Farley is not a fan of Oliver. He's drinking that haterade, and he is Oliver's #1 hater. And if Oliver doesn't have any haters, Farley is dead. We get this brilliant scene of him making fun of his slaves. And the way that Farley rubs it in his face that they're more privileged than him is done so eloquently. They meet up with Felix, Farley goes, they meet up with Felix, and Felix does this thing. There's like a tradition in his family when people die to write their names on stones and drop it into the river, kind of commemorating like letting that person go. And when they go to throw away that father's stone, like with the father's name on it, it lands in trash. It misses the water completely. Keep that in mind. And this is the first mention we get of Saltburn. Because his father has died, he doesn't want to go back home. So Felix invites him to come to Saltburn with him for the summer, which is his family estate in the countryside. Saltburn! So when he arrives to Saltburn, the butler of the manor is basically reprimanding him. And I feel like Oliver does that on purpose to drive home the point. He is poor. In an attempt to make himself look like a victim and also to disarm the family. Because it could be seen as an innocent mistake. You are poor, you don't know how rich people live their lives. You're gonna be clumsy the first time you interact with really rich people. You can't give Oliver the benefit of the doubt, and neither does Farley. Farley is not a hater just to be a hater for the most part. Farley calls Oliver out for being who he is. But I'm getting ahead of myself. After the tour, we finally meet the family and the family friend. The family friend is Carrie Mulligan, and if you know, again, anything about Emerald Lord is that she was the protagonist in Promising Young Woman. She was Casey. I love that they worked together again. And this is also a time in the film that it passes the Bechdel test. Felix's mom and Carrie's character, they talk about rehab. And then in the next scene in the morning, we get this ensemble yet again, and again, Oliver weaponizes his incompetence as a poor person in amongst rich people, not knowing how the breakfast is supposed to be served. So we get that scene to further drive home the point that, again, Oliver is poor. I don't know if you guys know this, but Oliver is poor. I know, shocker. And something about these two meals, all that they show is that the family they're nice, but they are not kind. And then we get, obviously, the summer scenes of them lounging, tanning, reading. And then finally, we are introduced to the maze. There's this little miniature maze in the study, and Oliver's playing with it for a little bit, and the butler comes up behind him and tells him, like, oh, people get lost at this estate a lot. Which was an interesting comment to make. Nevertheless, we move on. And then we get the first shock of the film. I find it shocking. So we already established a very fruity interest between Felix and Oliver, and Felix is in the bathroom doing some not safe for work self-care. Again, Oliver is watching. So Oliver is watching, Felix is done as he drains the bathtub, and right before all of the water is down the drain, we get the infamous bathtub scene. The one thing I want to say about this bathtub scene is the following. The way people had described it, I literally thought it was like a sexy scene between Oliver and Felix. That's the way people were making it out. And then when I watched the film and it was literally just Oliver lapping up water like a dog, those are two different things. And I was expecting something a little more crazy. Don't get me wrong, like licking up water from someone's bath is shocking, to say the least. It's gross, I think. Because like, when was the last time that tub was like washed? I'm a little taken aback. I can't get behind it, but I'm just like, oh, no, okay. And not gonna lie, like, I had suspended my belief until that moment. I had like an out-of-body experience watching this film. The very next day, in terms of timeline, the very next day, he's putting game on his mom.
Because you're so fucking beautiful.
That's what was more like crazy to me. So he's putting game on to his mom. Like the face she puts on and the mask that she puts on is that she's a caring person that has like, dignity and class. But she is a gossiping hoe like anybody else. She loves some good goss. He knows this, feeds into her. He uses the gossip that he gets from his mom to then, guess what? Hit on his sister. I have never seen someone Tomb Raider style run through a family the way Oliver has. Can't say I have before. If I was playing Saltburn bingo, I would write in, oh, hits on father as well. And I would get bingo. Like, that's how it felt in that moment. So the gossip that Oliver had gotten from the mom was that she has an eating disorder. And so Oliver tells her this moment in the garden because she wants to be seen by him. And he has sort of like BDSM dominating, like, command, like, next morning you're gonna eat all your food and not throw up. And she's like, oh my god, yes daddy, like I'm gonna eat all my food and not like do that. And then we get the second infamous scene of like him being, oh, I'm a vampire. Please take that the way that it's supposed to be taken. He is a vampire. I will not elaborate further. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That is exactly what you might be imagining it to be. He is a vampire. And the kicker of it all is that Farley is watching this go down in the garden. My only question is, how did Farley see it and not anyone else? Because literally the next day, there's still there's still a lot of like sexual energy. And at the dinner table, at the breakfast table, the butler is watching Oliver and his sister interact, like Felix's sister. And he can tell, like, oh, these two fucked. Oh, these two, like, they got it on, and they are eye fucking each other like the hell out of each other right now. And he's just sitting there like uncomfortable. I feel for the butler. And Felix is also uncomfortable. Farley tells Felix that's why Felix is uncomfortable, and Oliver chases Felix down, asks him like, hey, what's up, like you're being so weird. And Felix ultimately tells him that Farley told him that they were like getting it on in the garden. And he's just like, how could you do that? Like, I invite you to my house, you're supposed to be my friend, and you're over here like finger blasting my sister. And let's just pop quiz in the middle of this video. What do you think Oliver does? Does Oliver A, own up to it, B, apologize and offers, to go home, or C, gaslights Felix? Again, remember, Oliver is a helpless poor. If you guessed gaslights Felix, you are correct. Oh, you are so correct. This man looks Felix dead in his eyes, and he goes, you're really gonna believe Farley? And like, I would never hook up with your sister, bro. Gaslight the fuck out of him. And you know what Felix does? He eats it up.
You're a man.
Yes.
Look at the screen.
That's mine.
make this up. And then we get some context to this. The reason Felix is so ready to believe Farley is because it's happened before. And then we get to dinner and we get this beautiful visual. And this is the first time we get the reference, like in plain English, that even his sister sees him as like a toy. And then we get this interesting exchange between Oliver and Farley. And they're talking, and Farley puts on a karaoke song. It's called Rent, right? And it's a very meta song about dealing with the financially one-sided relationship and how Oliver and Farley, the only reason that they get to enjoy this vacation is because of their relationship to the people that do have money. Everyone's uncomfortable, and then Oliver goes to Farley and he's like, this is your song too. You think I'm the only one freeloading? You're a freeloader too. Like, come sing the rest of the song. The energy's like picked back up because when Oliver was singing, he was in real time realizing the lyrics and like how Farley was trying to humiliate him. But when Farley does it, Farley still has a more personal connection than Oliver ever will. Farley is a removed relative. He is a nephew. Money or not, he is family. Oliver, on the other hand, doesn't have that connection. He is literally a friend. He can be cut off without being given chances because he doesn't have an actual relationship with these people, which is the one distinction between Farley and also like the reason Farley feels like the need to even protect his family. And then we get this scene, which I then later found out wasn't even in the script. This was after they had been shooting for a few days and they kind of got the tone of the film established. They thought this was a good idea to put into the film, and they only had a few days to prepare. And it's, you guessed it, you absolutely guessed it, you are so correct. Oliver putting the moves on someone sexually to advance. You did it. You guessed it. On the nose. Goes into Farley's room and basically like grabs him by the balls to get him to do what he wants. I'm smiling because it's so absurd and funny and like another person. Yeah. But right after, Farley gets kicked out for sending like an email. He was trying to sell, like pawn off some family heirlooms. He was trying to pawn off family heirlooms because earlier he had been fighting with Felix about money, which again was beautifully shot with like the descendant of the staircase with they are above Farley as he's being kicked out. Cinema's back, baby. Cinema's back. And then we find out that their family friend has died. And then they can't even deal with Farley right now because they are also trying to deal with this friend's funeral. But at this point, we are in too deep. It is Oliver's birthday. Although family friend has left, Farley has been kicked out. There is only Oliver, and they're really trying to make it a great summer. They really are. So they're planning Oliver's birthday, and they are planning this huge trip. Mind you, Oliver's dad has died. Oliver's mom in their home life is not great. Oliver's an only child and he has no friends. So who are they throwing this party for? Really? It's just an excuse to get people in the house and throw a party and have a good time. But Felix wants to go above and beyond, so he surprises him by taking him to see his family, which is ultimately just his mother, right? And as they approach, Oliver is getting more and more frantic. They get to the house and Felix is like, oh my God, like your mom was, for lack of a better words, a homeless crackhead. And now she lives in the suburb. Like she really cleaned up her act. She's no longer addicted and she is doing so good for herself. If that was the case, yes. But we then find out that Oliver lied. Yes. The Oliver that's gaslighting and sexually assaulting everyone. Yeah, he also lied. I don't know if that's like the intent. I said sexual assault. What else do you call him inappropriately touching people? Okay, so they get there and they find out that not only is Oliver's mom not a recovering crackhead, and guess who else is alive? His father. Yeah, that man never died. Yeah. He liar, pants literally on fire. And not only that, but he lied about being an only child. He has 2 older sisters. And the whole time Felix is just like, oh. And so he just got caught in a lie. He knows he just got caught in a lie. And I love that the perspective that it's kind of focused on is Oliver's. It feels like the walls are closing in, and that is done on purpose, and I love it. And then they head back, And Felix is obviously, he feels betrayed. He doesn't want anything to do with Oliver, but he doesn't want to tell his family because it's embarrassing for him. He believed the fucking liar. No one wants to feel like they've been lied to. No one wants to feel like they've been deceived. They still have the party. He doesn't tell his family. It's a Renaissance themed kind of costume party. And then he bumps into Farley. So Farley gets into Oliver's face like, at the end of the day, like, I'm related to them by blood and you are absolutely nothing to them. And after this, Felix sneaks off with the girl. And Oliver does what Oliver does. Follows them, per usual, very on brand. He interrupts their session, and this girl obviously runs away. Oliver throws up and he walks away. But before he does that, he hands like a bottle to Felix, which he drinks, because they're all drinking. He doesn't think anything of it. It's like alcohol. And you think they part ways. You know, Oliver goes to sleep and he wakes up and like they're searching for Felix. They cannot find this man. And then they find him in the maze, passed the fuck out. Something that doesn't sit right with me is there's a part while they're looking for him that the butler and Oliver cross paths and they make eye contact for like a brief moment. That eye contact kind of solidifies something that the butler has always kind of known. He's like, I have this uneasy feeling that you're involved, right? They have that moment. And then they find Felix and they make the funeral preparations and we get this amazing scene. Everyone is processing the grief and the father is in denial. And so as they're making all the arrangements, they are trying to have lunch and they're eating or trying to eat, but no one's really eating except for him, the mother, and Oliver. And they're trying to have like conversation and Farley loses his shit, tries to leave. Father tells him to sit down and fucking eat his lunch as they draw the blind so that they can like wheel Felix by the dinner table. And on the outside you hear all the commotion of the coroner and everyone moving the body, and everyone's consumed by their grief, right? And the room turns red. Again, beautiful cinematography. And then we get to the funeral, everyone leaves, Oliver and the butler have a moment. And then we get infamous grave scene. I don't want to touch on that because we've all seen it. And I was shocked, honey. Because I could understand him crying on the grave, but then removing all of his clothes could not believe my eyes, right? And then right after that, we get the beautiful, immaculate scene of Felix's sister calling him out.
I think you're a moth. Quiet. Harmless, drawn to shiny things.
And then she meets her fate. And then the father tries to buy him out. Like, the father basically pulls the rich Korean mom in like the K-drama stereotype where she's like, I don't want you, you're a poor loser, I don't want you dating my son, how many millions do I need to write if you never contact him again, type thing. Word for word, bar for bar, because mind you, he's Felix's friend. He put the hots on his mom. Her kids are dead. And I understand grief makes you do crazy things, and they probably are in a loveless marriage. Getting with the friend of your deceased son after his death, I don't know if that's how I would process my grief. But that's what happens, and so the father is basically trying to like buy him out and be like, you need to go. And he does. And that's how you would assume that it ends. But this is Emerald we're talking about. She is like the queen of gagging us. This is not how it ends, baby. So some time goes on, right? And the father dies. Years later, he's in Paris or something, or some city. They have a chance encounter. Allegedly, there's oddly attracted to him. I think it has to be trauma bonding. What they went through was traumatic, right? And he's the only one that can really relate to her, right? Bites him back to Saltburn. He goes back, she falls ill, and we are back to the beginning of the film where he's explaining whether he loved him or not. And he's explaining to Felix's dying mother that, he loved him, but he wasn't in love with him. It wasn't Felix that he was after. It's then revealed his big, elaborate heist, popping of Felix's tire, pretending to be broke, sending them an email from Farley's iPhone, the chance encounter at the cafe, poisoning Felix, leaving razors out for a very depressed Ven, and then convincing her to sign over the estate to him before she became ill. It was all part of his plan. When I tell you, blew my mind. I thought it had started when he got to Saltburn. He saw the estate and he was like, oh, these people are rich. How can I get in on it? No, bitch. This was from even before. You can tell, like, from the suburb. Like, he comes from, like, a middle-class family. He is not poor. He lied about being poor because he played into everyone's emotions and what they wanted. And then we get the iconic ending of the movie with Oliver dancing to Murder on the Dance Floor in the empty estate. And the only thing I'm gonna say about that, I was not like put off by the nudity. I would too. If I just won an entire estate that looked like a beautiful castle, the first thing I'm doing is dancing naked. First thing. As soon as I sign, clothes are coming off. I love that scene. So overall, I think this was a crazy movie. Beautiful. Cinematography was beautiful. The direction, amazing. Dialogue, characters, everyone was very fleshed out. I love the way that she explored this story. And I want to know what you guys think. I want to know if you're shocked with the same things I was shocked about. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like this, please like, comment, like, subscribe. I talk about films all the time. And with that, I hope to see you next time. Bye.